Thank you very much. My name is Alena, and I would like to present you an emission report, which is named Eco Carbon Zone.
I'll switch better now.
Why is already is decided to have the version as well. So there are many reasons. So it clouds a strategy. There are some of them kind of time get targets, groups, and then there's also the of the customer, the client, load the applicable information, and also decision making could be quite important. Anyway, if you speak about regulating of the machine, it's always about managers. So what we need, data and methodology. Norms and frameworks are related to climate circumstances. So, these are familiar with them as the we as the world, the European law, the existing together, but smart center, already the next world, forward go out here, and then there's new worldwide standard, the ISO 14083. Like you know, typically calculated input lines laws. Actually, what we use. Anyway, there's always a problem. There's not only one formula or one solution, even if you follow these frameworks. We have an option for calculation. As already discussed here, so we can look the different transport modes, which are shown here. And of course, we are using this to compare trading to the transport to the expert. Oh, just on the road, there's a big range. What is the reason? So the load factor is quite involved here, and also the size of the truck. Both categories speak in a big impact on the emission intensities. The low emission intensities, and it will also create the role of our lines to screen and energy range. So we would like a clear picture of your transport. Yeah. So I get the interior office, you can see us with product owner in the middle. But I would like to let you know that we have a strong partnership with independent scientific institutes. So they develop the methodology behind it. We get the emission calculations, the logistics side details from them, all the data sources, and this is included in our tool. On the other hand, we get data from the data provider, like report, view data. On the other hand, we have also information about ocean vessels. This is not the topic of today, and also about large scale and not critical. We can see our initiative. We invite all clients to join this initiative, and then we discuss how we continue to develop it. So it's really a tool developed by the clients for the clients. On the right side, you can see the history of the tool and back and more than 20 years. This way, we try to provide always a state of the application. And now there's a little bit of methodology and solution by it's most interesting. What are input and output parameters? So it would be quite simple if you just start with information about the freight rate, the location, the origin, and the destination, and the transport mode. Let's take a simple example. Maybe I would like to bring you from Amazon, where I live, here in Cambridge, 1 ton of biscuits with a quite famous biscuit company in Canada, and I would like to go via road transport. This would be fine as an input, and then our tool will calculate. We'll show you the route details, the energy consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, air pollutants, and external costs. You can also simulate and try to compare these data to one transport, the budget transport loss. Question how can we calculate? And you already see this slide there was a formula. So total emissions are very often calculated on the margin rate, the intensity factor, with the gradient and the distance. But here it seems already some limitation for the intensity factor with values in the limit one factor. All assumptions allows the load and value or 20 minus 20 different times specific parameters. Here you can find the intensities on other sources. So there keep in mind that in this scenario implies a new intensity. Also, we look on distances, we identify rates of the calculated distances, maybe a great survey distance, the shortest feasible distance, this is also important. And yeah, it's really good for the game. And that's why we decided not to use such an approach, because we have everything in one intensity factor. And how shall we compare different countries? How shall we compare different load factors? Yeah, all these details we made in approach. Basically, it consists of 3 steps or 4 steps. So first, we start the solution of the original destination. Then we calculate how much energy is needed to bring the goods from A to B. It can be converted to emissions, knowing details about fuel consumption and line values. This is the first step. So we want to know how we go from A to B. In this example, A to B, this is the example in Ireland, in Denmark, in Vietnam, and this is a great line. Our approach really is there are urban roads, residential roads, motorways, and roads. Is necessary emission. What is going here? During the roads, they decide to go by a train to write all its ship into. The algorithm behind a similar navigation system, so the optimization algorithm, we try to find out what is the best way to reach the destination. On the determination of the energy emissions. So here's the data sources. It's a handbook of emission factors for European trucks and for other countries apart from North America. Here we use most days from the if we value causes energy consumptions, then we may find out that would be this original track to show for auto contract. So we would have a maximum age here for 26,000 our assumptions. And if we just convert the energy values here, the energy consumption to fuel consumption, then we may have, for example, 270 per 1 kilometer for the energy track, but we have let's have a look at what's not really light. So we bring in kilometers, but also the tonnage, so that by the way, who is the strong impact there doesn't work after the attack, works the attack is totally low. So this will indicate what is specific tonnage. This new costs are for different classes, different energy classes, and different screen categories. So this is how we do different scenarios here. But we have to translate processes to the shown to what are areas by telling details about carpooling, they want to choose different types of aids. If it's a time track or lighting the track and then the issue. Load factor manifesting could be said as specified if you would like to have its food transport, this is included different food types in emissions. And then you know that we have assumptions behind this, we're having emissions for these details, then we calculate statistical send. Next step. So now it's about emission calculations. So you would keep in mind the energy provision emissions and the operation emissions. And then we come to the total emission. So here it's interesting how the energy is provided, to be distributed, and how this is transported. products across the different solutions. Here, in the third world, price network, renewable energy is associated with the energy hydrogen. Now, a different way from that, and also different value to start. This is quite interesting if you're really action tiles and you want to see which tiles you can actually see different feedstocks up there or the regular. What's really interesting here, so we just have a positive impact because, the course and baseball, like last day, what I said to you, but they're growing. Whereas the impact for casting, transport, and the production of further operation this side. Primary data was already discussed, both maybe as we talk about the theory of a different interfaces, or we really see to just the awareness. It's not a real on-time practice. Let's assume you would like to have a truck with 40-ton truck with 5 emission power, 60% load factor, and you want to transport 40 ton. Then I stand here and would like to show you the result you will have the role for 500 kilometers in China, and 500 kilometers in Sweden. Snaps and the whole of them would like to compare dealer about the results. Maybe it was timely, as better the line was if it compared. It shows the same numbers, even if it's the same as the same vehicle, and even if it's the same scenario. And here's the reason is that we can biofuel share in the account, even for dealer trucks. That's why the results here is not really different. There's not a bit of the next couple. This is more than the same. We compare this with electricity vehicles, then we notice a huge difference. So why we there's a big decrease. If we switch to an electric vehicle, it's an increase for China. What's the reason behind it? This is the electricity production is, and this is included for different countries here. So we take into account if there's a lot of renewable energy in one country, or if there's a lot more production in another country. Electricity here is also quite important for them. It's really matters. With our energy-based program approach, we will start to calculate the transport, which includes almost transport. Of course, we need to get a better enough like getting focus on the transport. There's a huge generator rate, so the background in this way can calculate all this transport. We also calculate the security report and calculate transparency. We can integrate the individual data and also fuel consumption division as well. And we can mention that we calculate compliance to national standards. This is available and these are all developed by the clients for the industry together and try. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you for a great explanation. Questions for Elena?
So given a lot of the talks around data accuracy, primary data, and model data, have you done any validation of your models against other measured fuel consumption, or is it something you're looking to do?
Yes, we did. And also many of our clients did, and they end us for the trading wars that they have decided let's continue to model data, they didn't quite have the direction, they just not to use their data. So we are quite close to reality. And we have some clients here who can confirm that.
Yeah, very impressive. You've obviously factored a lot of variables into your model, but what you've excluded is the density of the load, density of the freight, which is significant because if your client wants to move, say, 1,000 tons of a product, then how does that translate into vehicle movements, which would be related to the cubic requirements? Have you thought of trying to find some way of factoring that into the calculation? Maybe differentiating by commodity type and then having a different density value for the different types of commodity.
We offer the solution already, so you can choose different general freight. And then this is really taxi or fill rate, and otherwise you can set it separately by yourself. But it's really, really important to define the variable factor rate.
I have a question. I was curious about your view on these uncertainties, which there always are. So how do you look at this company?
So it's not covered. We do not give any accuracy results or uncertainties in the output, but it is a question how close you are to our models in the background. So if you have a load factor similar to our average, or the truck is similar to our average truck that we have in the background for different countries, then you're quite close. And that's why we encourage all users of the tool to give as many details as possible to shrink this uncertainty.
Okay. And your tool doesn't have possibilities to show uncertainty when you're
No.
you say my load factor is somewhere between this and this, and then that tool will show how this could propagate through the entire calculation.
No, it's not included, but it's quite interesting.
I think,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
if people want to know, of
Yeah.
course,
Yes.
that's usually the problem.
Yeah, we get this question from time to time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only one question. Congratulations, very impressive. I'm also very, very happy. He become a December this year. Very good. And then my question is that going forward and with all this transition in terms of energy vehicles, where do you find the potential gaps that would require more effort in terms of getting better emission factors, or which would be the perspectives on what would you see would be needs that will need to be addressed in future when we look into the transition in the transportation system we are facing now?
So primary data, this is definitely a challenge. As we have already seen, there are so many problems to get all this information, but clients are more and more forced and pushed in this direction, and they're requesting how they can do it. We offer an interface. Anyway, it's hard to or challenging to get these numbers.
But
I think
at the
this
end,
was on topic.
you mentioned that at the end, when they go and they assess this with primary data, they still want to work with the emission factors. And if I understood correctly, right? From your previous question. So that at the end, you mentioned that when they do and they assess with primary data, they are fine with emission factors. But I still you think the trend will be to move from emission factors to primary data.
Yeah, and also to move from our model data to primary data could be the case. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Good. I don't know if that helps to get the picture. We did an exercise just to have good control over the data with one large shipper, a Swedish furniture company, probably all of that as home from them, and the company which claims to be the largest carrier in Europe, which is in Lithuania, starts with the G, and we were measuring some 2,000 food truck load shipments, so relatively easy use case. Once with industry default average, bottom up, very granular science-based, then with primary data, and then in the model version, where the Swedish shipper considered input data from the carriers. So on average, industry default was only 6% different to the primary data, which was very good for reporting. Because if you look in individual use cases, you have a huge range of differences, up to 28% between primary data and industry default. But on average, for reporting purposes only, pretty good. Considering input data from the carriers, not primary data provided by the carriers, took them off from the reality by 28%. So better don't ask your providers. Using industry default average, it's indeed better than that. So just this was only one case study, so maybe not 100% representative, but a nice sample of food verticals. Easy to.
Is the conclusion then that default factors are, I would say, highly in the average good and best practice and primary data would incentivize decarbonization. I think that a conclusion on that, or
That's a little bit inside. I mean, the main difference is if you want to do reporting, I think the standard used to default ever, bottom up, not everything which seems to default ever is of that quality is sacred content. But that's a very good proposal. But the shortcoming, of course, is first of all, you don't see progress to happen. Well, if you change one of the legal data, if you right or wrong, you see